And welcome once again to San Bernardino for Best of the West baseball here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Move to Game 2 of our triple header here today. It's the prospect games from San Manuel Stadium here in San Bernardino. Jeff Stoynoff, Dennis Ackerman with you once again. And we move to the Juco prospects, first of two, involving the junior college prospects here at San Manuel. And Dennis, again, a very, very wide representation of local talent here from a number of different schools, and a lot of very talented players here heading to different places as we move forward.
It is, and indeed, we have well over 20 junior colleges represented here in this first game, as you mentioned. One of two, the next one coming your way about 6:45. A beautiful day here in the desert for baseball, temperature right around 74 degrees, and the first game we saw, if it's anything similar, it should be a good one. A lot of good, solid defense, a lot of good, solid pitching as well.
See, taking a look there, and we hope to have the radar gun for it. Looks like they're trying to set that up, so we'll be able to add in average velocity here as we watch these pitchers. And again, of course, a reminder that while we sometimes quip and have fun with the informal rules here of winter baseball, that this is a showcase of some terrific young talent here. So we will watch along with you and see indeed who impresses us as we move forward. Ethan Sakata gets the start for Team Navy. Will be in the field first, working to Team Green. J.D. Ortiz set to lead things off, and he takes a ball.
And for our viewers at home, we are playing 10 full innings. Each pitcher will go one inning. He is on a pitch count.
Hard grounder to second, but right to Neighbors. And Neighbors goes to first to retire Ortiz.
Center fielder from Fresno City College, number 41, Shane Purcell.
For out number one, and we are underway.
74 degrees, first pitch, 2:36 p.m. Pacific.
That'll bring up Shane Purcell, and he will be followed by Julian DeLeon, and first pitch swinging for a strike. As that one fouled back to the screen. Brian Sanders in left, Andre Petties Wilson in center, Steven Knezevich in right for Team Navy. Off-speed pitch in there for a strike. And quickly, no balls and two strikes on Purcell. Richard Castro at third. Alex Seguin at short. Camus Neighbors at second. Marco Malerba at first. And Matthew Maloney behind the plate. And Ethan Sakata on the mound. A ball and two strikes. The count on Purcell. Here's the pitch. That one all the way back. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well done on those pronunciations. There are some challenging names in this game on both sides, the Navy and the Green side.
Team effort. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count. And a swing and a miss. And Purcell down on strikes. So an auspicious beginning for Sakata as he retires the first 2 batters in order. And that'll bring up Julian DeLeon. Julian DeLeon out of Taft College as he stands in. And Sakata's first offering misses outside for a ball. And Ethan Sakata currently playing at Palomar College. Well, I guess unfortunately, not too many people playing at all. That's why it's a good thing that we're here. An opportunity for the guys to get back on the diamond and play some ball. Here's the 2-0. Breaking ball in there for a strike.
Yeah, Jeff, you and I were talking about before the game. I mean, the college, the junior college, and the high school baseball season is set to get underway in February, but with COVID-19, everything just a fluid situation right now.
And again, back to the breaking ball and in there again. So Sakata doing a good job locating the curveball, and he's even the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes on DeLeon. Of course, for those who might not have joined us for our first game, everybody on a pitch count here to keep the game moving. So not so much of an issue so far for Sakata, who's retired the first 2, but we might see some innings here and there rolled over while they're still going. So just yet another fluid situation, I guess, while we're at it. So seems to make sense. Payoff pitch, called strike 3. Sakata with a 1-2-3 top of the first. Through half an inning, Team Green nothing, Team Navy coming to bat. It's Best of the West Baseball brought to you by Future Events Group here on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
Was it Len Cicada who played for the Orioles? Do you remember Len Cicada?
Of course I do. Len Cicada. Part of that revolving door of shortstops with, Mark Belanger and Rich Dower at second and Doug DeCince at third and Len Cicada. Todd Cruz at third. Yeah, they didn't exactly blow you away with their middle infield. So it's Kamayu Neighbors. Kamayu.
Hold on, I'm sorry.
It should be
Anthony Diaz, number 48. Anthony Diaz. Yep.
Bottom of the first, Kamayu Neighbors will lead things off for Team Navy, to be followed by Alex Seguin and Richard Castro against right-hander Anthony Diaz, who will pitch the first inning for Team Green. No score in this one. We're just underway. Good fastball in there for a strike. Up at 88 miles an hour there for Diaz. 0-1 pitch. Bouncing ball towards short, and it's up and over the glove of Ortiz as he tried to charge. It's going to be a tough play for Ortiz with the speedy Neighbors getting down the line. Took a bit of a bad hop on him. We'll wait and see what the call is on that one. I've made my argument for a hit, and that's what they'll give Neighbors.
I would have gone with an error. I think Neighbors would tell. I think Ortiz would tell you that's a ball he should have played 10 out of 10 times. But
well, I think if he comes up with that cleanly and throws on the run, he might get him by half a step. It's going to be a bang-bang play, but either way, a bit of a bad hop for Ortiz. Didn't help. First pitch from Diaz in there for a strike to Seguin, who starts the game as the shortstop for Team Navy.
Out of Long Beach City College.
Had a cut and fouled it away. He's quickly in a hole, no balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, Neighbors was on the move, so head coach Paul Martinez putting the runners in motion here in the first inning.
Well, now Seguin's got himself in a hole, no balls and 2 strikes. Snap throw, and they've got Neighbors hung up. Between first and second, they'll put the tag on. So a ball and 2 strikes now, the count on Seguin, but Neighbors erased from the base paths.
I think it was 2-3-6. See if I'm correct. Maybe 2-3-4.
I think it might be 2-3-4.
I'll go 2-3-4.
All right. Hey, just the fact that you're even plugging in the numbers, I'm impressed. 2 balls, 2 strikes. On Seguin, trying to work his way back.
Is that a lost art of baseball games now? Do people still keep score when they go?
Oh, I think that's all over with. Until they come up with the phone app that does it for you. And then it'll be back in a big way.
That is a great call, Jim. You got that.
I'll tell you what, there's a multi-million-dollar idea.
Yeah,
Take it. Take it. Go
I'll
ahead.
share it with you.
Go ahead and run with it.
I don't mind sharing.
That one inside, and Seguin comes all the way back to work the walk. So a runner at first now, 1 down. And the pickoff for Team Green looms a little larger. Eddie Aldama in left, Shane Purcell in center, Robert Hernandez in right for Team Green. And again, much like our first game, we'll have set lineups for the first 5 innings, and then the teams will completely change for innings 6 through 10, and we'll see all new players, as that one is chopped foul, no balls, and a strike on Castro. It's Brandon Hernandez at third, J.D. Ortiz at short, Julian De Leon at second. Here's the 0-1 pitch. On the big hop to third, they'll go to second for one. The relay is wide and to the dugout, so it'll go down as a fielder's choice. Bounces back quickly to Pat McDonald Jr. at first, so Castro will remain at first. And it'll go down as a fielder's choice.
Boy, De Leon had a lot more time on that relay throw and just let it get away from him.
Yeah, it's a little trouble getting it out of the glove, and I think that just threw off the whole rhythm. And the throw was about 10 feet offline, but no harm done other than perhaps the missed opportunity to complete the double play as the runner remains at first with 2 down. And a fastball from Diaz is high and inside for a ball. And we saw that Diaz showing some impressive velocity, and that one certainly popped the glove. Looks like he can maybe challenge that 90 barrier. Lifted deep to left. Aldama moving back, looking up, and it's gone.
That was Matt Maloney.
So Matt Maloney
With a 2-run home run.
takes one downtown. And it's Team Navy that draws first blood, a 2-run shot. We're going to get a look at the replay here. And this is pretty much a no-doubter.
He jumped all over that fastball, and
no.
the failure to turn the double play extends the inning.
Yep.
And Maloney makes him pay with a 2-run homer, and Navy now leads it 2-0 here in the bottom of the first.
Amazing how the little things can come back to have such huge importance. A swing and a miss for Andre Pettis Wilson. And Diaz ready. And that one misses low. A ball and a strike the count. Well, we didn't really have the sense that the ball was really carrying, but that one, good contact, and it was a drive, but got out by a healthy margin. Another swing and a miss for Pettis Wilson. It's a ball and 2 strikes. So perhaps we're going to see a little more of what we saw a little earlier, a few months ago when we were here for the Best of the West tournament. And we saw some balls jump out of here during the day. Foul territory on the right side and out of play.
For the most part, it is a pitcher's park. It's 330 down the lines, 410 to straightaway center. But if you hit one into the alleys, you can run for a long time in this stadium. Opened up in 1996, home to the Inland Empire 66ers, single-A affiliate of the Angels.
Just outside. Pettis Wilson out of San Diego City College.
Well, we have players from as far north as Fresno.
Yeah, just taking a cursory look at the roster. Swung and a miss, and Pettis Wilson going down to end the bottom of the first, but not before. Team Navy strikes with the 2-run shot by Matthew Maloney. 2 runs on 2 hits, no errors, and nobody left on base through 1. Team Navy leading Team Green 2-0. It's the Prospects Games triple header. Best of the West baseball here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Right-hander A.J. Odo takes over on the mound for Team Navy. Excuse me. Let's correct that real quick. A.J. Odo, the left-hander, takes over here in the second inning. I'm going to switch the glove Jim Abbott style on me, I think, a little bit. That's the story I'm going with. But Odo takes over to start the second. He'll work to Pat McDonald Jr., Brandon Hernandez, and Emilio Morales on the first pitch. A breaking ball over for a strike. Well, right away, Team Green with a little bit of work to do. Down 2-0 on the Maloney bomb in the first.
Odo working out of the stretch.
Back to the curveball and in there for a strike. And starts off with a couple of breaking balls to McDonald and gets them over. And he's way out in front. Odo's pitch. Fastball, that one coming back to the screen. That was coming right back toward us.
That was. He had a good cut at it. Just missed it, fouling it straight back.
We're going to challenge what I'm sure is some kind of break-proof glass or...
It better be. It better not be breaking.
But that ball was going to hit with some velocity. Chopped back to the mound and a nice play by Odo, who'll take it himself and underhand to first. So nifty play by Odo on the mound on the comebacker. 4 up, 4 down for Team Navy pitchers to get things going. And now it'll be Brandon Hernandez.
Jeff, I don't know about you, but my reaction time is my mind says do this, and my body reacts about 7 seconds later. So my hand-eye coordination, not good right now is what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I still sense, back, much like back in our younger days, the mind says do this, but now your body says more or less, what was that? Oh, do what? Oh, okay. So 1 ball and no strikes the count on Hernandez. Yeah, I think that's the truth of it, Dennis, is that it really, just as you get older, your body doesn't get slower, it just gets hard of hearing.
Yes.
Let's correct the count. It's a ball and a strike. So there was a strike in there, and now 1-2 on Hernandez.
It's almost 3 o'clock out here in the west, and you can see the shadows just starting to move towards home plate.
Yeah, and I think that'll only get tougher. It'll go eventually across home plate. Right now it's just about to home plate. But I'll tell you, when you're locating the breaking ball like Odo is right now, it can be straight sun on the field, and you've still got a problem.
For some of you viewers at home who might be wondering, yes, those are tarps on the field. It is December. They're trying to protect the grass here. So there are several tarps in foul territory around home plate, in front of the pitcher's mound as well, right around third base and first base in foul territory as well, and then a little strip behind short and second.
Full count now on Hernandez. Here's the payoff pitch, line drive into center, a base hit. A nice piece of hitting for Hernandez, who takes it right back through the box. And Team Green has a base runner here in the second inning. Emilio Morales will be the batter.
He was a late addition to this roster.
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of information on Emilio. A couple of changes for this game. Also, pitching had to be moved around a little bit.
Yeah, actually had one player switch teams on us.
We've seen it before.
We have in the summer.
In there for a strike. And Odo is out in front of Morales. No balls and a strike. Good lead for Hernandez at first. Not going, and the breaking ball misses outside. One ball and one strike on Morales with Robert Hernandez waiting on deck. Hard shot through into left field for a base hit, and now it gets away from Sanders out in left field. That's going to allow the runners to pick up a couple of extra bases. Hernandez is going to round third and come all the way around to score. So that'll go down as a base hit, but then you got to believe there's going to be an error out in left field on Brian Sanders, who just had that one scoot right under his glove.
Did he take his eye off of it? He just
Yeah,
misplayed it, didn't he?
I think that was right through the 5-hole.
It was indeed.
And Sanders trying to get a good jump on that ball, and it ends up meaning a couple of extra bases for Brandon Hernandez and a run for Team Green, who's on the board.
Credit Hernandez running hard. The crack of the bat, scoring all the way from first base.
So a ball and no strikes on Robert Hernandez, the right fielder, with a runner in scoring position and one down. Good cut, and he fouls it straight back. So a ball and a strike the count. Swing and a miss. And Hernandez now down in the count, a ball and 2 strikes. Well, already a little more action at the plate than we got in our first game, or at least early on.
Yeah, our high school game started at 10 a.m. That was dominated by good defense and solid pitching.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Are we talking about Robert Hernandez?
No, Emilio Morales.
Oh, Emilio Morales. Yeah, getting the word that he's out of Cerritos College. And that one popped up at short and playable for Seguin for out number 2. And Morales will remain at second.
Left fielder from San Bernardino Valley College, number 44.
And that'll bring up Eddie Aldama out of San Bernardino Valley College. Shortest drive to the ballpark, I think, Eddie Aldama today. I'm just guessing, but he's got to be in the running. So Aldama, the left-hander, stands in. And the breaking ball again from Odo in the dirt.
It's a nice block by Maloney.
Please, we need to have a car moved. It is a Buick LaCrosse. The following cars, actually, there's 4 of them that need to be moved. Buick LaCrosse, license plate 4ST-UKA.
Now Odo is going to go for a little extra time. Actually, it's Aldama who steps out and wants time. 1 ball and no strikes. McDonald retired on the ground ball back to the mound, but the Hernandez single, followed by the Morales single and the error, allowing Hernandez to score. And Hernandez has popped out. That brings you up to speed. A runner at second with 2 down here in the top of the second. Team Navy on top of Team Green, 2-1. Juco Prospects game. Best of the West baseball from San Manuel Stadium. Slow curve over for a strike. So a ball and a strike on Aldama as we watch this one more time. And
nice movement on that pitch.
a little bit of framing from Maloney worked. Line drive into left, a base hit. They're going to hold the runner at third, and I think it's a good thing they did. A good throw from Sanders coming in, and I don't think Morales had much chance if they send him there.
Oh, he's out by a good 5 steps, I believe. Sanders didn't had an error earlier this inning, but showing off a strong arm right there.
So for the moment, Team Navy holds the 2-1 lead. And that'll bring up the top of the order, J.D. Ortiz, who grounded to second, getting the game underway. So we'll have a pinch runner.
It's Robert Hernandez.
Okay, Robert Hernandez, who just popped out. Okay. Yeah, I think that's hearing the talk from the next room, and yeah, it's you got to get ready for the next inning if you're catcher Emilio Morales, so they'll send out Hernandez to run. First pitch misses for a ball. I think if Ortiz comes up with a hit here, I feel like Morales should still get the run scored. It was really not his fault that he had to come in and get his gear on to go back in the field. He would have gotten his run scored.
You are a generous scorekeeper, my friend. It's a good look at San Manuel Stadium, about 60 miles east of downtown Los Angeles on a beautiful day here in December. Temperature right around 74 degrees. Sure making the rest of the country quite jealous.
I'll tell you, it's not bad. The 1-1 from Odo. Breaking ball low. 2 balls and a strike. You watch Odo, and it's that breaking ball. Obviously, not a lot of velocity on it, but yet so far it seems that nobody can really pull the trigger on it and get a swing. That a shot through the right side for a base hit, and Team Green has tied it up. So Ortiz delivers.
Center fielder from Fresno City College. Number 41.
Getting back to your point, I think these hitters are laying off the breaking ball, looking for another pitch. And once they get it, they're able to do something with it. They've got 2 runs on 4 hits here in the top of the second. Hitting still alive.
Odo again starts out with a strike. So he gets ahead of Shane Purcell, who struck out his first time up. And the word is that we have a pitch count, but they're letting this one go for a little
they
while.
are.
So at least for the moment, might have extended the pitch count for a little bit longer in this game. Off speed and a wave and a miss. Purcell way out in front. And he's in a hole now, no balls and 2 strikes.
And we mentioned players coming from Fresno. Purcell is one of them. About 3-hour drive north of here? 4 hours, I'm told.
We've made that drive before. In the dirt, blocked nicely by Maloney. A ball and 2 strikes.
Our wonderful producer, Mike, corrected me quickly on that, so he's very familiar with that drive up the 99, I'm going to take it, the 99 freeway.
Well, it's some experience and some just being a human GPS. I don't understand it.
Shout out to JoJo.
Indeed. Our buddy JoJo and Fresno City College. And a swing and a miss, and Purcell down on strikes to retire the sign, but Team Green levels it up. 2 runs on 4 hits, 1 error, 2 left on base. We're heading to the bottom of the second, brand new game. Team Green, Team Navy tied at 2. Best of the West baseball from San Bernardino on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
We need to have 4.
Andy Hurtado takes over on the mound for Team Green. With the game tied at 2, he will work first to Marco Malerba, and the fastball misses outside for ball 1. Hurtado out of Cerritos, or was it Cerritos? No, Fullerton. Marcos Malerba's out of Fullerton College. I'll get myself together here. Popped up on the infield. Malerba going to be retired as Brandon Hernandez puts it away for out number 1.
It's a very tough sun. I was out down on the field before this game, and especially out in center field, that is a very difficult sun. So be aware of fly balls to center, maybe right center and left center. Could be a challenge for these outfielders.
And Andy Hurtado, the right-hander, out of Cerritos College. Ready, and here is the pitch. And a swing and a miss for Steven Knezevich, the right fielder. And there is a look at Steven Knezevich out of LA Valley College. Fastball tails just outside, a ball and a strike on Knezevich. Here's the pitch, goes to the breaking ball, gets the outside corner, a ball and 2 strikes. Brian Sanders will bat next.
Might have been a generous strike there.
Yeah, so far looks like pretty generous strike zone. Of course, we don't mind if the game keeps moving. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Just outside.
In the 90s, I was living in Atlanta, and I think the Smoltz, Glavin, and Maddox might have had the widest strike zone of any 3 pitchers I'd ever seen.
Well, it helps when your catcher puts out the glove, called strike 3, and you pretty much crush the center of the glove every single time when you throw a pitch. That's going to get you a few calls.
Well, they were great pitchers. I don't know how much help they really needed.
Well, wasn't it, I think we talked about that last time we were together, but that Glavin was so good with his control that
As was Maddox.
he had the ability. Yes, absolutely. Glavin had the ability in particular because he didn't have the overpowering stuff, and he was able to consistently hit spots so well that he would simply hit a spot, and if it was a called strike, he could hit maybe just an inch outside of that. If that was called a strike, he can move another inch or so outside, and he would find out exactly how big the strike zone was going to be, which I always thought was quite a compliment of the umpiring, that the calls were that consistent that he felt like once he determined the spot that that was going to be a strike for the rest of the game. Meanwhile, 3 balls and no strikes on Sanders, who's way out in front.
Hard to believe they only won 1 World Series with that pitching staff.
And the team they beat in the World Series that they won was maybe statistically as dominant a team as there was in the 90s, and somehow that team didn't win.
You know, that Indians team had one heck of a lineup, and their bats were just silent in that World Series, 95 World Series.
3 balls and a strike. Yeah, 1 hitter, I believe, by Glavin to finish it. Line drive, into right, a base hit. So a 2-out single for Brian Sanders.
Nice bit of hitting going the opposite field.
That'll bring up Kamayu Neighbors, who singled, leading off the first for Team Navy. So Sanders will lose some of the equipment, and now he's at first and ready to go. And Neighbors will dig in from the left side against Hurtado, who retired the first 2 before giving up the base hit to Sanders.
Interesting the way McDonald's holding the runner on over at
And
first.
there goes Sanders. The throw down on 1 hop. And a nice job backing up by De Leon, keeping that one from going into center, but a stolen base for Sanders. And now Team Navy with a runner in scoring position.
Jeff, I think
and 2 out.
I think a good throw gets him.
Yeah.
Not a good throw from the catcher, Morales, 1 hopper.
Yeah, had to sort of backhand that one a little low and inside, but came up out of it, and yeah, just didn't quite get off the throw that he needed to. But I agree. I think a strike there, and they're in the dugout right now. 2 balls, no strikes on Neighbors. In the hole, it's through for a base hit. Sanders rounding third. They'll send him home. Here comes the throw, and they got him. Robert Hernandez out in right field.
Great throw by Robert Hernandez.
Able to get Sanders at the plate. We'll give you the replay here as we go to break. And the tag from Morales, and we're still tied at 2. Heading to the 3rd. It's the best of the West baseball here from San Bernardino on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Richard Kelly Austin on the mound for Team Navy as we head to the top of the third. He'll work to Julian De Leon, Pat McDonald, and Brandon Hernandez in the first pitch. Swung on and missed for strike one. As Richard Kelly Austin out of Orange Coast College starts his inning. We're still tied at 2 after the bang-bang play at the plate. A good throw from Hernandez getting Sanders. And incidentally, gave you a few looks at that. Great job, guys, on camera and with the replay. Looked like a pretty good call. I think we got it on our monitor there. I think they got it right.
Wonderful throw out in right field.
A ball and 2 strikes.
No, I dated myself. I made the reference Dave Parker in that '79 All-Star game at Seattle, throwing out 2 runners to earn MVP. We've seen some good defense.
What do you throw out, Jim Rice?
I don't remember who he threw out. Somebody at third and another player at home.
Yeah.
But first game, the high school game, we saw a lot of great defense, and it's continued here in this first of the 2 junior college games.
Bouncing ball just foul. Who was the better arm? Was it Parker or was it Dwight Evans or was it
Dave Parker had one of the best arms.
Ellis Valentine?
No, I'll still go Dave Parker. Brian Downing he threw out at home plate. How about that? The
Angels?
California, yeah, throw Brian Downing. I don't know who he threw out at third, but he got Brian Downing out at home. I do know
think it might have been Jim Rice, but we'll see.
I'll go with that.
I give you Ellis Valentine. I think had a
great arm.
Had as good an arm. De Leon goes after the high fastball. He's down on strikes for out number 1. Of course, if there was somebody that somehow miraculously was even older than us, they'd tell us that Clemente had a better arm than any of them. So that we had it all wrong anyway with all of our new guys.
There was only 2 players I ever saw hit home runs in the upper deck at Old Candlestick Park, and Barry Bonds obviously was one, and Dave Parker was the other one. He was playing for the Reds.
I thought Stargell did it, speaking on that same team. I think
he might have, but Parker was playing with the Reds at this point of his career when he did that. But talking about putting one in the upper deck at Old Candlestick, that's a moonshot.
Yeah. Ball and no strikes the count on Pat McDonald Jr., who grounded back to the mound his first time up.
So, Jeff, now you wonder if you look at home plate, it's now in shadows. So, see if the batters have any issues trying to pick up the pitch going from sunlight to shadow.
1 ball and 1 strike as you get a good look at Pat McDonald Jr. Brandon Hernandez waiting on deck. Called strike 2. Pat McDonald Jr. out of Mount San Jacinto College. 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. And they'll throw down to, well, they won't have to. Matthew Maloney was ready to make the throw
He
if
was
he needed
indeed.
to, but he was waved off. Meanwhile, Team Navy pitchers have now struck out the last 3 batters they've faced, and for Richard Kelly Austin, it's 2 batters faced and 2 strikeouts here in the top of the third. And Brandon Hernandez, who singled will be the batter for Team Green. Had a cut. No balls and a strike, the count on Hernandez. 2 down, bases empty, and outfield shades Hernandez just slightly to pull. Here's the pitch, comebacker, and that was off of Kelly Austin and over to third base, and it's hard to tell to what degree Kelly Austin was able to get his glove up because that was heading right back at his face. And we'll see here what they're in. He did, I think maybe he got the arm up there. You have to hope so. Very close, and they're going to take a look at him. He's still on his feet. And Hernandez, meanwhile, safe at first. It'll go down as a base hit, of course. And there's a look at Richard Kelly Austin, and looks as though he's pleading his case to continue. And they are not going to let him. And Richard Kelly Austin will come off, and they'll take a look at him just to be safe. And Team Navy, well, rather than have a new pitcher come in, they'll just go ahead and roll the inning. So it'll end on the base hit for Hernandez, and they'll go ahead and take a look at Richard Kelly Austin and make sure that he's okay. We'll head to the bottom of the third inning with the score tied at 2, Team Navy and Team Green. The Juco Prospect game, first of 2 Juco Prospect games here from San Bernardino on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Alex Seguin to be followed by Richard Castro, Matthew Maloney. 2-3-4 due up against left-hander Seth Spencer out of Riverside City College. Into the line, first pitch, the fastball high for a ball. Seguin walked. Back in the first. And Spencer pumps one in there for a strike, a ball and a strike. And there you see Alex Seguin out of Long Beach City College. And he had a good cut, fouled it straight back. Count now, a ball and 2 strikes. Team Navy grabbed the early lead on the 2-run homer by Matthew Maloney, but Team Green scratched back with a couple of runs in the top of the second with the help of a couple of hits and an error. And that's where we stand tied at 2 with the count now 2 balls and 2 strikes on Seguin. Spencer has one he likes. Here's the pitch. Tries the breaking ball, missed it inside. And that is ball 4. So for the second time, I should say, Seguin able to work a walk. And the leadoff man aboard for Team Navy, and here comes Castro. Castro safe on a fielder's choice. His last time up, first pitch on the inside corner for a strike, and as Dennis pointed out, and you remember that seemingly innocuous fielder's choice ended up being a very big play on a ball that could have ultimately been 2, but instead was just a fielder's choice. It gave Team Navy one more out in that first inning, and Matthew Maloney took full advantage going downtown with a 2-run shot to give Team Navy the lead. This one's popped up toward first and put away by Pat McDonald Jr. for the first out here in the third. So Castro retired, and that will bring up Maloney.
Number 18, Matt Maloney.
So Matt Maloney, the 2-run shot his first time up. And Spencer, the left-hander, ready. Good fastball. There goes the runner. The throw down. They'll never get him. Seguin with the stolen base. Meanwhile, the count, no balls and a strike on Maloney. Matthew Maloney, a catcher out of Orange Coast College, misses inside, a ball and a strike. And those that follow Juco baseball in the area can't be too surprised to see that Maloney struck a big blow here in this one, coming out of Orange Coast College, one of the top programs in the 3C2A year after year. And Maloney just another in a line of talented players coming out of that program. That one inside for a ball, 2 balls, and 2 strikes. Seguin with a good lead at second. Meanwhile, De Leon cheating toward the bag now has to come back. And the fastball in there for a strike. Down goes Maloney on strikes for out number 2. Good job by Spencer. Not surprised to see Spencer standing up, though, as he's from Riverside City College. One of the rivals of Orange Coast College in a very talented Orange Empire Conference. So 2 down, runner at second, and Andre Pettis Wilson, who struck out his first time up, coming up for Team Navy. First pitch, low and inside for a ball. Fastball tails high. 2 balls and no strikes, and eyeing the gun quickly, I see that one came in at 89 miles an hour, so good velocity from Spencer. Goes to the off-speed pitch, and Pettis Wilson tried to hold up but went around, and the count now 2 balls and a strike. So Team Navy trying to pick up the leadoff walk here and get back out in front with the game tied at 2 here in the bottom of the third. 2-1 pitch. In the dirt again. And it's been a busy at bat for Emilio Morales behind the plate. 3 balls and a strike. The count now on Andre Pettis Wilson. Called strike and the throw down to third, and they got him. So Seguin trying to swipe third. But Emilio Morales delivers the strike and ends the inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. Through 3 complete. Tied at 2, Team Navy, Team Green. It's the Juco Prospects game. Best of the West baseball here from San Bernardino. Brought to you by Future Events Group. Spencer Axe takes over on the mound for Team Navy. 6'6" out of Orange Coast College, and his first pitch, fastball in there for a strike to Emilio Morales. Will be followed by Robert Hernandez and Eddie Aldama. Here in the top of the 4th inning with the game tied at 2. Axe into the wind, high and outside with the fastball. There's a look at Emilio Morales out of Cerritos College. Had the RBI single, the single that ultimately drove in the run. There's a good curveball from Axis in there for a strike. A misplay out in left field allowed Brandon Hernandez to score from first for the first run of the game for Team Green. They would go on to tie the game at 2. Called strike 3. Axe strikes out Morales to get things started here in the top of the 4th. So an impressive beginning for Axe, and that is 4 straight Team Green batters retired via the strikeout, interrupted by the infield single by Brandon Hernandez last inning. And you can see some of the dynamic stuff out of the pitchers coming out of Orange Coast College as Axe misses with the breaking ball, 1 ball and no strikes. Robert Hernandez popped to short his first time up. Axe ready. Misses low and outside, 2 balls and no strikes on Hernandez. Again, Axe missing inside. 3 balls and no strikes. Hernandez way out in front. Got to believe here that Hernandez is going to have at least one time with the take sign. Let's see if they give him the green light if he likes one. And he offers it that one. 3 balls and a strike. Axe ready. Here is the pitch. Just outside. So Hernandez with a 1-out walk.
Left fielder from San Bernardino Valley College. Number
And here comes Eddie Aldama, who singled. His first time up. Breaking ball from Axe misses low. A ball and no strikes. Castro about even with the bag, but a little bit off the line at third base. Up the middle, they're looking to turn 2. Fouled away. 1 ball, 1 strike, the count on Aldama. Axe from the stretch. And he misses low. 2 balls and a strike. And just that quickly, Axe lapsing into a little control problem. He's behind Aldama with a runner at first. 2-1 pitch. Good fastball, and he blew that one by Aldama. Count evened up, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Breaking ball, and he chops that one foul. Aldama able to just fight that one off. Give himself another chance. Malerba holds the runner on, so a good hole on the right side if Aldama can get around on one. Outfield shading him just slightly to pull the fastball way high. And it's 3 balls and 2 strikes now on Aldama. Axe from the stretch. There's a looper into left, but it'll hang up for Sanders, who makes the catch. There's one that could have been trouble. And a little bit of air under it, and Sanders able to close and come up with it for out number 2.
Back to the top of the order. Shortstop from Fresno City, number 38, J.D.
And that'll bring up J.D. Ortiz out of Fresno City College. He's 1 for 2 in the game. Hernandez at first with 2 down, and Ortiz coming to the plate. And there is J.D. Ortiz. Likely to be his final at bat. Teams again will switch at all positions after the 5th inning. So we'll have 2 new teams coming out for the 6th. A ball and no strikes on Ortiz. Curveball in there for a strike. A ball and a strike on Ortiz. Axe with a long look at Hernandez, who has a pretty short lead at first. Not going, and a swing and a miss. Ortiz with a big cut. A ball and 2 strikes to count. Ortiz with a base hit back in the second, his last time up. And time called. And a swing and a miss. And Ortiz down on strikes to retire the side here in the 4th. Team Green gets a runner on base, but nothing doing. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 left on base. Heading to the bottom of the 4th with Team Green, Team Navy tied at 2 in Juco Prospect Game number 1. Here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, Best of the West Baseball brought to you by Future Events Group.
So next pitcher is Troy Taylor from Cyprus. Pops the first one.
Do you want to just start next? Do you want to do 3.5? Do you want to start next?
I'll do. I'll just do 5, 6, 7.
Okay. Yeah, I'll finish this inning and then you can. Who dares to call me from private number?
What's that?
I said, who dares to call me from private number?
Are you looking for a car increase?
I think they want to talk to me about my non-existent student loans.
Exactly.
My God. Troy Taylor.
Name you will hear very often.
That's what I'm worried about. You know that's well, I kind of like the old school name of Troy. You know, like that's what just like that one. Out of Cyprus.
Any relation to Jake?
Jake Taylor here. Troy Taylor here.
Troy Taylor's up.
Pittsburgh or something? Or? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Your attention, please. Now pitching for Team Green. From Cyprus.
Count me in when you're ready.
35, Troy Taylor.
Troy Taylor, the new pitcher for Team Green. And he will work against Andre Pettis Wilson, Marco Malerba, and Steven Knezevich. Troy Taylor, the right-hander out of Cypress College, into the wind. His first pitch to Pettis Wilson is in there for a strike. And the word we got on the radar gun was 95.
So he's bringing it. Pettis Wilson out of San Diego City College appeared in 13 games for them. He was 3 for 11 on the season, 273. He's got some speed, 3 stolen bases for them in the abbreviated season.
No balls and 2 strikes quickly as you get a look at Taylor. And Pettis Wilson tried to hold up, but he went around, and he's going to run down to first, and he's going to be safe as the throw gets away up the line out into right field, and Pettis Wilson is going to end up at second. Now, does that go down as 2 errors?
I'll go strikeout E2 on the throw. It's got to be a pass ball or a wild pitch, though, on the strikeout. But definitely one
so
error.
Wild pitch and then an error, and Pettis Wilson all the way at second. Well, how do you like that? If you're Troy Taylor, you get a strikeout on your first at bat, and you got a runner in scoring position.
But I think you saw the speed because the catcher Morales was so worried about getting him. The throw was wide of the first base bag, and Pettis Wilson ends up at second in scoring position.
Absolutely, the speed on display, and a runner at second now with nobody out, and Taylor will work to Malerba and misses outside for a ball.
Malerba hit just 208 at Fullerton Junior College last season.
Foul tip, and it's held. Strike 1. A ball and a strike, I should say, on Malerba, who popped to third his first time up, and there is Marco Malerba. You mentioned the stats at Fullerton College.
Jeff, so many of these players either played abbreviated seasons or they didn't play at all last year.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that was the case. That was what we saw with so many players, too, when we were here for the Best of the West tournament a few months ago. And Petty's Wilson leaning toward third and just gets back. As Ortiz got in there and almost got the tag down. This was a close play. See if we can watch there. And well executed, but Petty's Wilson using some of that speed just to get back. Meanwhile, the fastball again in for a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and Troy Taylor continues to pop the gun in the mid-90s. The 2-2 to Malerba. Inside a ball. Here's the payoff pitch. Petty's Wilson going for third, and he's going to steal it on the walk by Malerba.
Well, Jeff, you and I were talking about old school baseball, and that's right now what Petty's Wilson is doing with Navy. I mean, he on the strikeout, he makes it to first, takes second on the throwing error, and then steals third. They're manufacturing a run right now is what they're trying to do.
Well, we quipped a little bit at the humor of Petty's Wilson being very close in dual last names to a couple of speedy center fielders from back in our day, Gary Pettis and Willie Wilson.
Yes.
He's just close. He's one letter off from Pettis Wilson, but he is reminding of those two players right now on the field.
Boy, Willie Wilson, was he epitomized what a leadoff hitter was back in the day. Handles the bat real well, a lot of stolen bases.
Yeah, and early in his career, I know he threatened for a batting championship one year with an average up around 330. So for the first couple years of his career, had a real tendency to get on base. A ball and 2 strikes. Runners at the corners, still nobody out. And Steven Knezevich with an opportunity here to push Team Navy back out in front. 1-2 pitch, swung on and missed. The gas from Troy Taylor, 96 miles an hour, and he just blew that by Knezevich.
It's a big strikeout right there.
Well, it's a good thing when you have the ability to just rear back and throw it by somebody, and Troy Taylor needs that right now, and he came up with it against Knezevich. Still runners at the corners with 1 down, and Brian Sanders, who had a base hit his first time up, will be the batter.
Sanders hit .375 at Long Beach City College. He had 13 runs batted in just 18 games, so he handles the bat quite well.
Some pop at the bottom of the lineup. As that one tails outside for a ball, 1 ball and no strikes. We are in the bottom of the 4th, and we're tied at 2. At the knees for a called strike. A ball and a strike now on Brian Sanders. Brian Sanders out of Long Beach City College. That one high and outside, 2 balls and a strike, and we'll have the radar gun right in front of us here at 98 miles an hour. So we're getting close to Aroldis Chapman territory. Sanders can't catch up with the fastball there, and they count 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Taylor, he goes 6 foot, 190, and he has got a cannon for a right arm.
The 2-2 to Sanders. Got him. Right back to the fastball, and this is welcome to Troy Taylor country here. If you're Team Blue, Team Navy, you get a couple of guys on, and Taylor just goes to the heat, throws it by you. Take you back through some of that at bat, and boy, what is that if not just rearing back and firing it by you? First pitch fouled away. No balls on a strike on Kamayu Neighbors, who's perfect on the day, 2 for 2. Looking to come up with another base hit here to salvage something in the inning and give Team Navy the lead. Oh, 1 pitch. Again, fouled back, and Well, we've seen him throw it by a couple of guys here and now. Neighbors really haven't seen anybody quite catch up to that fastball yet and even be able to turn it around and get it back up the middle. And it is just no easy task.
He's one strike away from getting out of a first and third with nobody out.
2-2, tried to go for the high fastball, but Neighbors lays off. A ball and 2 strikes. Well, he's working on 4 strikeouts in an inning of work, and I'm going to go ahead and guess that that is not exactly an incredibly rare occurrence for Troy Taylor. Probably got a couple. Line toward third, but Hernandez is there to put it away and retire the side. Neighbors flirted with the 2-out base hit, but Hernandez able to come up with it and retire the side. Team Navy threatens, but comes up empty. No runs, no hits, 1 error, 2 left on base. Heading to the 5th with the game tied at 2. Dennis Ackerman will step in on play-by-play when we return. You're watching Best of the West Baseball, the Prospects games, here on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
Welcome back to San Manuel Stadium, San Bernardino, Best of the West Prospect Games. Game 1 of our Juco Prospect game. On the mound now for Team Navy, right-hander Elliot Gallegos. He's facing 2-3-4 in Team Green lineup. Shane Purcell, Julian DeLeon, Pat McDonald Jr. Team Green, 2 runs, 5 hits, 1 error. Team Navy, 2 runs, 4 hits. They've also committed an error. Here's the 0-2 from the right-hander, working out of the stretch. Misses for a ball. It's 1-2. Purcell's 0 for 2. A couple of strikeouts. So you can see the shadows starting to move into the outfield. Late afternoon here in San Bernardino, about 60 miles east of downtown Los Angeles. Gorgeous day, starting to cool off. Game 2 of 3. Saw a good high school prospect game to start the day. A lot of good pitching, a lot of good defense in that one. And the 2-2. fouled away. Good crowd on hand. Fans are allowed in attendance. We also have scouts as well as agents. And you know, a lot of those scouts were drooling over Troy Taylor, who was consistently in the mid-90s in the bottom of the fourth. And the 2-2 from Gallegos swung on and missed, struck him out. Purcell.
Strikeout by Gallegos.
A hat trick. Not a good one, 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. And 5 out of the last 6 outs recorded by Team Navy have come by a strikeout.
Julian De Leon.
I'll bring up Julian De Leon. He's also 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts. De Leon played at Taft Junior College. Appeared in 18 games. 4 for 19 on the season. 211 average. Down in the count, 0-2.
De Leon also 0 for 2 and struck out twice, so trying to avoid the ignominious 0 for 6 here with 6 strikeouts. So for that middle of that order.
See if Gallegos goes right after him. He does indeed. Kind of a half-hearted swing. Back-to-back strikeouts to begin the 5th.
Strikeout for Gallegos.
And that unofficially to me is 9 strikeouts for Team Navy through 4 2/3.
I would concur, my friend.
Really 4 1/3 because 1 inning did not go the full 3 outs. So give you a sense of some of the stuff that we're talking about here for Team Navy.
Took something off that pitch. McDonald way out in front. Down the count, 0-1, and he is 0 for 2. He is grounded out to the pitcher, and he is struck out as well. So right now, Team Green struggling just to put the ball in play. Man, he's quickly down the count, 0-2. So Gallegos 1 strike away from retiring the side in order, all via strikeout.
Is the internet down?
Right-hander comes set. The 0-2 lays off, takes it high and away for a ball. It's 1-2. Let's see, perhaps McDonald Jr. would chase one out of the strike zone. Did not. Gallegos working quickly. Donald Jr. had a good cut at that one, fouled it straight back. Remains 1-2. Team Green, 2 runs, 5 hits. They've committed an error. Team Navy, 2 runs, 4 hits. They've also committed an error.
I think if you're Gallegos in this situation, you just don't want to get too cute here. Just keep going. Nobody's really turned around the fastball yet. Just come with your best stuff here.
The 1-2. There you go. 87 miles an hour in the gun, and he strikes out the side.
Strikeout for Gallegos.
Nothing doing for Team Green here in the 5th. No runs, no hits, no errors. They didn't leave anybody. Head to the bottom of the 5th. We are all tied up at 2. On the Best of the West Prospect Games, presented by SoCalCollegeSports.com.
off for Team Navy.
Head to the bottom of the fifth.
Shortstop from Long Beach City
The new
College,
pitcher
number 8,
for
Alex
Team
Seguin.
Green is right-hander number 32, Jack O'Brien. He will face 2, 3, and 4 in Team Navy's lineup. Alex Seguin, Ricardo Castro, Matt Maloney. And the first pitch to Seguin is in there for a strike, 0-1.
And Jack O'Brien out of Palomar College, a program that has been on the rise the last couple of years in Juco baseball.
Right outside of San Diego, correct?
Yes.
Seguin does not have an official at bat here this afternoon. He's walked twice. He's stolen a base. He was also caught stealing.
Yeah, he's been busy on the base pass.
And he is quickly down on strikes. So O'Brien comes out. Tires the first batter he faces.
You get the feeling the pitchers seem to know that we're on a bit of a schedule here, trying to catch up.
Richard Castro.
That'll bring up Richard Castro. Castro reached on a fielder's choice, scored a run, and he's also popped to third. Castro from Cerritos College. Hit .303 this past season. Knocked in 10 runs. High throw. Now he's going to try for second, and he is not going to make it. He is throwing out.
Yeah, there's a bit of a ricochet there off of that dugout area behind first base. We've seen a couple of balls come back, and that one overshot McDonald Jr., but then came back quickly, and they had Castro by about 4 or 5 steps at second base.
So is that going to be a single and then retired 3-6?
Or is it an error? It really felt like more of a throwing error.
Well, they have put 5 hits on the board. Ground ball to short. Ortiz. And that'll do it for Team Navy here in the 5th. Going to go no runs. I'm going to go 1 hit. No error. Nobody left the board. 5 complete. We're all tied up at 2. Top of the 6th. And we head to the top of the order. Aaron Harper pops up the first pitch he sees in the infield. And it is handled by the shortstop.
Look like Brock Denbo taking over at
Brock
short.
Denbo. Try to set the defense for him momentarily.
Yeah, we got eight fielding position changes here.
So
9 really counting the pitcher.
Jake Taylor is the new left fielder. And then in center field is Brian.
Yeah, I have Brian Landon. Yep.
Luke Stuka is the right fielder. Nolan Funke is the new third baseman. Brock Denbo is the shortstop. Brody Parker is the new second baseman. Connor McKinney is the new first baseman. Logan Galena, he's behind the plate and on the mound. Right-hander Nick Craddock, who has retired the first 2 batters he has faced. As Noah Nieto grounds out.
And Bodie Parker moving to his left and able to just get Nieto by a step. Quickly 2 down.
Craddock, a right-hander out of Golden West Junior College. He appeared in 8 games, had 1 start, 1-1 record, a 6.56 ERA. Pitched 23rd and 3rd innings. Allowed 33 hits, 17 runs, all earned. Pretty good walk-to-strikeout ratio. 22 strikeouts, just 5 walks. Breaking ball starts him out. Strike 0-1. After these first 2 innings, pitching staffs have taken over this ball game.
Yeah, both really settling down nicely.
Hansen lifts the 0-1 into right field, going back on it is Stuka right in front of the warning track, and he makes the catch to retire the side in order. Hansen gave it a ride, but it's just a long out. And that will do it for Team Green here in the 6th. No runs, no hits, no errors. Nobody left at the bottom of the 6th. Team Green 2, Team Navy 2. Bottom of the 6th, Best of the West Prospect Games Tournament. San Manuel Stadium, presented by SoCalCollegeSports.com. No cell changes defensively. We'll get to those. As the first pitch here in the 6th. Misses for a ball. 1-0. Set the defense for you now for Team Green. Left field is Nick Siemens, beg your pardon. Trent Anderson is in center field. Chase Hansen is the right fielder. And the 1-0's in their first strike. Count now evened up at 1-1. Noah Nieta is the third baseman. Aaron Harper is the shortstop. Damian Johnson is the new second baseman. Over at first base, Julian Tejas and Cole and Volge is behind the plate catching. And on the mound is a right-hander.
Yeah, Michael Mendoza.
That is Michael Mendoza. And he's got a strikeout victim in Brock Denbo. So one gone here in the
Second
sixth.
baseman from Cerritos College, number 11, Bodie Parker.
And Bodie Parker out of Cerritos College. Set to bat next.
Mendoza, a right-hander out of East LA College, appeared in 5 games. Allowed 6 runs, 3 earned for a 6.23 ERA. Pitched 4 1/3 innings this year. 0-1 on Parker, making his first at-bat. This past season for Cerritos College, 222, 1 home run, 9 RBIs, and he's got a 1-out single here in the bottom of the 6th. Team Navy, that is their 5th hit of the game. So each team with 2 runs, 5 hits, and 1 error.
Catcher from Golden West, number 25, Logan Galena.
That'll bring up Logan Galena out of Golden West Junior College, left-handed hitter. Tejas holding the runner on over at first. He is the go-ahead run. First pitch in there for a strike. Galena at Golden West JC hit .290, 1 home run, 17 runs batted in. Runner goes. No throw. It'll be a stolen base. So with 1 out now, Parker in scoring position. An 0-1 count on left-handed hitting Galena. He will strike out a lot, 16 times in 69 plate appearances. That Mendoza will step off the rubber, cannot get on the same page as his catcher and Lolgi. So I'll go out and have a brief conversation. Lights not on yet here at San Manuel Stadium in San Bernardino, home of the Inland Empire 66ers, single A affiliate of the Angels. Here's the 1-1. This is inside for a ball. Now it's 2-1. Connor McKinney waits on deck. There goes the runner. The throw down to third is not in time. It's a stolen base for Parker. We have things falling here in the press box. Everybody be on their toes.
Did that hit anything directly?
I don't think so.
I'm going to do a little housekeeping here real quick. The 3-1. Ball 4. So runners at the corners now with just 1 out.
Yeah, after the leadoff strikeout, the base hit, a couple of stolen bases by Bodie Parker, and then a walk, and all of a sudden it's a jam
First baseman,
for Mendoza.
College, number 26, Connor McKinney.
McKinney swings at the first pitch and drives it deep into left center, and a diving attempt. Did he get there? He caught it. What a grab. Nick Siemens out in left field. Tagging up to score is Parker.
Outstanding play by Nick
But
Siemens.
what a play by the left fielder Siemens, taking extra bases away from McKinney. The run does come home to score.
Yeah, almost as an afterthought on such a great play is the fact that Team Navy does manage to grab the lead, and some good alert base running by Parker, not straying too far from the bag, assuming that ball was going to drop. Got back to third, was able to tag up and at least get Team Navy the lead.
And with 2 gone now, Luke Stuka steps to the plate.
What a potential game saver, though, by Siemens out in left field. The difference there between trailing by a couple of runs with the inning still going and maybe getting out of this inning with just 1 run.
And that one's going to get down. And holding at second is Galena, so station-to-station baseball. Second hit of the inning for Team Navy. So Galena at second. Stuka's on at first. Nolan Funky will now come to the plate for the first time.
From Orange Coast College, number 10, Nolan Funky.
Another player out of Orange Coast College, Nolan Funky.
Funky had 11 RBIs for them this past season, hit .288. And he steps to the plate with Galena on at second. Stuka, the runner, at first. 1 run home here in the 6th. Team Navy looking to add to it. Funky takes the first pitch for a strike as he gives the home plate umpire a look. 88-mile-an-hour fastball. 0-1. Right-hander looks in for the side. Now he comes set. Kicks and delivers. Quickly ahead of Funky now, 0-2.
And there is a batter on deck, so an opportunity here for Team Navy. If Funky can keep this alive, apparently Team Navy will get at least one more at bat as well, so an opportunity.
Here's the 0-2. That one gets away from the catcher, and both runners will move up. Galena now at third, Stuka at second. See if it's a pass ball or a wild pitch.
Yeah, we can't quite go to the replay here, so just have to make the best guess.
1-2 on Nolan Funky. If he just tries to shorten up that swing, put the ball in play. A couple runners in scoring position for him. Instead, he swings and misses, and strike 3. Doza picks up a couple of strikeouts in the inning. However, he gives up a run. There were 2 hits. There were no errors. A couple runners left aboard. We head to the top of the 7th. Team Navy now leading at 3-2. Trent Anderson, Cole and Volge, and Damian Johnson here in the top of the 7th for Team Green. They now trail it 3-2, and they will face right-hander Caleb Turner out of Golden West College.
Thus far this season, Caleb Turner with a record of 2-1, an ERA of 4.39 in 9 games. 26 and 2/3 innings, allowed 29 hits, walked 14, struck out 26. Does also have 2 saves. They should throw that in at the end.
Anderson lays off that pitch, even up the count at 1-1. Anderson from Cerritos College, where he hit .321. Did not homer, knocked in 10 runs. 4 doubles, 2 triples on the season. Can't catch up with the 90-mile-an-hour fastball. It's now 1-2 on the leadoff hitter here in the top of the 7th inning. Team Green, 2 runs, 5 hits. They've committed an error. Team Navy, 3 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. Down on strikes is Anderson.
Strikeout for Turner.
That is now 9 in a row retired by Team Navy pitching.
Catcher from Golden West, number 46, Cole Andavolgi.
And Volgi now will step in. His first plate appearance. First pitch misses to him for a ball. It's 1-0. Team Green got both of their runs in the top half of the second. Swing and a miss. Count even up at 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Team Green trailing it by a run.
90 miles an hour on that last fastball from Caleb Turner.
Team Navy got 2 in the bottom of the first, and they picked up another run in the bottom half of the 6th. That's where we stand, 3-2. As the entire field is now covered in shadows. 4:18 Pacific. The lights are not on yet. That one get him? I thought the umpire held up 2 arms like it hit him, but apparently not. So it's a ball. And it's 3-1 now on the number 5 hitter in the lineup. If you're just joining us, each team is batting just 8. The pitchers are not hitting. All the pitchers are throwing just 1 inning. They are on a pitch count. We've rolled over just 1 inning. Swing and a miss. So back-to-back strikeouts by Turner to begin the 7th inning.
And they have the count still at
Now it's
2-2. Okay.
Okay.
It should be 3-2, I believe.
He struck him out. So he fouls that pitch back out of play, so I apologize to Andavolgi. I was retiring before he was out. Since I was retiring before while he's still at the plate. And the payoff pitch from the right-hander Turner, lined into left field.
Well, there's a way to come back.
I know.
Coming back from the dead there for Randall Volge. Good piece of hitting.
That is the first hit for Team Green since back in the second inning.
From Cerritos College, number 28, Damian Johnson.
That'll bring up the left-handed hitter Damian Johnson. He's got a nice hole on the right side of that infield with the runner being held on at first. Working out of the stretch now is Turner. Right-hander comes set. Pitch misses high for a ball. 89 on the radar gun on that fastball.
You have to stop whatever event you're doing.
Count even up at 1-1. Short lead for Andavolgi. And Turner now ahead in the count 1-2.
Paints the outside corner with that pitch, and not much Damian Johnson's going to be able to do there.
See if he shortens up his swing on 1-2. Misses for a ball, even up the count at 2-2.
I think Johnson catches a little bit of a break there. I think he was fooled by that
do
off-speed pitch. Couldn't quite pull the trigger, but luckily for him, just outside the zone, and he's got another chance.
Runner goes, a 2-2. Hit off the end of the bat, foul. And Andavolgi got a great jump. But he'll retreat back to first base, and we'll do the 2-2 all over again. Turner comes set. Kicks and delivers. Breaking ball just missed. Now he's running full, so we'll see if Andavolgi is off and running. Let's see if head coach Paul Martinez puts him in motion. He does go, and the full count pitch is taken. Now called strike 3. The throwdown is not in time. It was a delayed call from the home plate umpire.
Strikeout for
Johnson down on strikes looking. A stolen base for Andavolgi. So now he's in scoring position with 2 outs.
42, Nick Seaman.
Bring up Nick Siemens. We're also going to have a pinch runner. That'll be number 38 for Team Green. And we'll identify him momentarily. JT Ortiz started the game at shortstop. 0-1 on Siemens.
Nick Siemens, who might have arguably made the play of the game right now for Team Green, even in a game that they're losing 3-2, but the sensational catch laying out in left center field to keep the 6th inning to a 1-run inning when it could have been much more for Team Navy. Now has a chance maybe to pick up a runner here.
I think he has the play of the day. That was a spectacular grab. A run ended up scoring on the play, but he perhaps prevented a very big inning. The 0-2, did he hold up? Pitch was in the dirt. He did. 1-2 now on Team Green's left fielder. Tying run down at second base. Pinch runner J.D. Ortiz. Late on that swing, fouls it back out of play. It remains 1-2. Top of the 7th, we are playing a full 10 innings. And then later, coming later tonight I should say, the final game of the Best of the West Prospect game schedule. Up the middle into center field for a base hit. Let's see if they send Ortiz. They do. Here comes the throw. It is not in time. And we are all tied up as 3 as Siemens takes second on the throw. So he delivers a 2-out RBI single. Some clutch hitting right there. He not only comes up with a big defensive play, then delivers an RBI single. A 2-out
how about
RBI
Nick
single.
Siemens?
And now he's in scoring position as he represents the go-ahead run.
Well, now he erased the big inning for Team Navy with the catch in left center, and now he's erased the lead for Team Navy with the 2-out base hit.
Number 8 hitter now, Julian Tellez. His first at-bat.
And now Tellez, perhaps with a base hit to the outfield, could give Team Green the lead.
1-1 now on the big right-hander. He is 6'3", 245. He is put together as he awaits the 1-1. Fastball catches the inside part of the plate. Now he's down to the count 1-2. And the 1-2. Swung on and missed. Struck him out. So Turner strikes out the side. However, he gives up a run. There were 2 hits. There were no errors. 1 runner left aboard. Time to stretch. Head to the bottom of the 7th. They're all tied up at 3. Bottom of the 7th here at San Manuel Stadium. Best of the West Prospect Games. Game number 2, presented by SoCalCollegeSports.com. Jeff, you all right? I'm not losing you, am I? I cannot lose you, my friend. We still have one more to go after this one.
I know, it's a triple header today. I'm not getting out of here.
No, you're not. We're also going 10 innings, no matter what in this one. So I need you. You are not going anywhere. 7, 8, and 1 in Team Navy lineup. A brand new ball game, all tied up at 3. And our new pitcher is James Benham.
And in light work this year, James Benham, just 3 appearances, 2 innings of work, allowed 3 hits, walked 3, struck out 2, no record, and an ERA of 9.
And he's fallen behind 2-0 to the leadoff man, Jake Taylor, here in the bottom of the 7th. And now it's 3-0. See if Taylor taken all the way. Team Navy would like to get the leadoff man aboard. And they do indeed. 4-pitch walk. Inauspicious beginning for Benham, the right-hander.
Well, even in the limited numbers from his season work so far, he did have some inkling with the 3 walks and 2 innings. And so Benham comes in here in a very tight game, but perhaps control still an issue that he's working on.
Faces the left-handed hitting Landon, who's struggled last year at Fullerton College. Hit just 127, 7 for 55, and did manage 7 runs batted in it. But if you're old enough to remember, he hit well below the Mendoza line. And for those of you who don't know what that is, that means you hit less than 200. There goes the runner. Pitch taken for a ball. The throw down is a good one, but it's not going to be in time. Fantastic jump by Taylor. And he stole that one off the pitcher, Benham.
Mario Mendoza, really immortalized in baseball lore.
Yes.
Maybe not in the way that he would have dreamed of, but nonetheless, his name, one of the ones that carries on.
The Rangers and the Mariners, right? If I'm
Pirates.
Pirates, okay.
Pirates and the Mariners.
Pirates and the Mariners, okay.
That's pretty good recall of a player that really had not much of a dent in the.
But the Mendoza line, it just.
Yep.
He's infamous.
He really is.
And now Benham has fallen behind, landed 3-0, so he's throwing 7 consecutive balls to begin his outing. And there's a strike. So Landon does not swing a particularly good bat.
Yeah, I think you have to go after Landon if you're right here. If for no other reason, if you're Benham, you really don't want to put runners on and open the door to a bigger inning. If you could keep it even to 1 run, the way Team Green has been able to fight back in this game, you got to believe that with a couple of more chances, they can find a way to get themselves back into the game one more time.
He's come back to run it full on Landon. Taylor represents the go-ahead run down at second. Bottom of the 7th, we're all tied up at 3. Once again, we are going a full 10 innings. Here's the payoff pitch from the right-hander. Ball 4, so back-to-back walks.
Boy, just off the outside corner, and Benham did not miss by much with that pitch.
He thought he had it. We can tell by his body language.
Back to the top of the order. Shortstop from Fullerton, number 9, Brock Denbo.
But now it's a real jam for Denham with 2 on and nobody out.
And the top of the order is shortstop Brock Denbo. First and second, nobody out. Denbo had 11 runs batted in this past season at Fullerton College. Takes the first pitch in there for a strike. Taylor is the runner at second. Landon down at first. Infield looking for a double play ball. And Ham will check the runner. Now the 0-1 breaking ball in there for a strike. So he's quickly ahead of Denbo, 0-2. Looks like a much different pitcher in this batter, doesn't he?
Well, we've seen this pattern so far today quite a bit. A little struggle initially, but seemingly once the jitters go away and they get into the stretch, we've seen a couple of pitchers really lock it down from that point forward. And if you're Team Green, you have to hope that's where Benham is going here, and he's got the strikeout.
So a big strikeout right there. And for the second time, Denbo down on strikes. And that'll bring up now.
Second baseman from Cerritos College, number 11, Bodie Parker.
That is a massive strikeout, potentially.
Parker's 1 for 1. He has singled, He has stolen a base. He has scored a run. Taylor remains the runner at second. Landon on over at first. 1 out. Bottom of the 7th. All tied up at 3. Team Navy's yet to put the ball in play. The first 3 batters. And Parker takes the first pitch in for a strike, and it's 0-1. Now the lights are on here at San Manuel Stadium. We're about 60 miles east of downtown Los Angeles. It's cooled down considerably since the first pitch was 74 degrees. And that one looks like it got him. It did. And now are they going to put him down at first, or are they just going to still make him hit? Or are they going to... So they're just going to call it a ball.
I didn't even update my score sheet.
No, I didn't either. I did not.
I'm starting to catch on to
Yes,
how they're doing
I agree.
things here. This is, you do not immediately go for the HBP when
No,
there's
you do not.
contact.
You do not. So Parker remains at bat. Well, scoreboard has 1-1. I thought the umpire held up 2-1. So
Well, it was 1-1 when the ball hit him. You'd think he'd at least get a ball out of it.
right. Yeah, I think it is 2. There we go. Now we're updated 2-2. Parker on a big swing and a miss. It's like he was trying to put up Team Green by 3 runs with that swing. Benham trying to work out of a jam here in the 7th. Runners go. Pitch fouled away.
Oh, massive jump to third
Yeah.
for Jake Taylor. But the hit and run was on.
Jake Taylor, for any of you baseball movie buffs. Jeff, you like to tell the...
Right, there's from what's beyond cult classic, I think, Major League.
Yes, the first one.
And Major League 2. Yeah, that's right. He was still Jake Taylor in Major League 2.
The 2-2, runners don't go. High and inside, he's run it full. So let's see now if head coach Chad Cordero.
Somehow I don't think there's any parents out there that are considering naming their kid Clue Haywood.
No.
With the last name Haywood, we're not getting Clue as a first name.
I mentioned Navy head coach Chad Cordero. He was quite the closer in his day. Talking about the Expos earlier. He played for the Montreal Expos as the Washington
Absolutely.
Nationals.
Yep. You had a terrific trivia question related to Chad Cordero.
He won the old Rolaids Relief Man Award 2005.
Was that after it was no longer the Fireman Fireman Award?
Third walk of the inning issued by Benham. And now the bases are loaded, just 1 out. Logan Galena now steps in. He walked in his only plate appearance.
Catcher from Golden West, number 25, Logan Galena.
So Taylor is the runner at third, Landon the runner at second, and Parker is the runner at first. There is nowhere to put Galena. He homered once this season at Golden West College. First pitch in there for a strike, and it's 0-1. Well, if you're Benham, you're either looking for a strikeout or a double play ball. And
Yeah, if you can get one on the ground here, give yourself a chance.
Galena just looking to get something in the air deep enough to score that run from third and give Team Navy back the lead. Lays off that pitch, misses for a ball, count even up at 1-1.
Unfortunately for Benham, it seems as though he's been up in the zone more often than down.
Has Antonio been modifying his too?
Yeah, he's been pretty good. I think he's on auto. So this seems to have been
And the 1-1.
or should have. Yeah.
Fastball strike. Now it's 1-2. So now Benham in the driver's seat here.
Yeah, it's fine.
And I think if you're Benham, you got to stay on that outside corner. Maybe you can get Galena to try and pull one on the ground to second, get a double play ball.
There's been 3 walks and a strikeout in the inning. Team Navy has yet to put the ball in play. Now they do, and it's a bases loaded, base hit to center field. That'll score at least 1. And Logan Galena delivers an RBI single to put Team Navy back in the lead 4-3 now.
Well, I think if you're Benham, you're hoping for that effort to pull the ball on the ground, but he gets just the opposite. That's a great piece of hitting by Logan Galena, who takes a ball that gets a little too much of the plate and takes it right back up the middle for a clean single to give Team Navy the lead.
That'll bring up now Connor McKinney. Sacrifice fly. He was robbed by Nick Siemens. See, McKinney was bidding for extra bases. That one's going to go all the way to the backstop. And that will score Landon with the second run of the inning. It is now 5-3 Team Navy.
Gotta believe that's a wild pitch.
Yes.
And now Team Navy, one base hit to the outfield to really get a stranglehold on this one. Already up a couple of runs.
And two more now in scoring position. Still just one out. McKinney now ahead in the count 2-0. Big cut at the 2-0. Fouls it straight back. Lands on the roof of the press box. It's now 2-1.
Good job by Benham really busting that one inside. Not a whole lot that McKinney was going to be able to do with that pitch.
Right-hander kicks and fires. 3-1, even though it hit McKinney. He's not going to take. He's laughing about it. He's the hitter in the on-deck circle. Stutka.
Do you think this is do you think they're offering the hitter the choice at this point? It seems possible.
It could be possible.
That maybe they're just saying you can either take first or stay in there if you want to just keep hitting.
McKinney's like, I got two runners in scoring position. I'm going to stay up here.
Well, in a showcase event with scouts here, I think he probably more interested in trying to get a swing to catch somebody's attention. I don't know if getting hit by a pitch is really going to draw much attention to you.
But that should be ball four. But apparently, I wonder if they're. Yeah, we're not even.
Because
sure
it looks like it's staying at 3-1.
Yeah. Big swing and a miss. He's run it full.
I can see Kenny right on top of the plate. I wouldn't mind seeing Benham try and come back inside one more time.
Said he misses outside ball four, and that's going to be the end of the inning. So that will do it for Team Navy here in the bottom of the seventh. They pick up 2 runs. They do it on just 1 hit. There were no errors, and since McKinney walked, I'm going to say they left the bases loaded.
I think that's safe to say.
All right. We head to the top of the 8th, and it's Team Navy leading at 5-3 here in the Best of the West Prospect Games, presented by SoCalCollegeSports.com.
Top of the 8th inning from San Manuel Stadium in San Bernardino. Juco Prospects game, best of the West baseball. Here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, it'll be Aaron Harper, Noah Nieto, and Chase Hansen against new pitcher Ryan Harney. First pitch in there for a strike. And Harney out of Citrus College. Deals somewhat from the side, not full submarine. We haven't gone full Tekulve here.
No, we have not.
But he does sort of whip from the side. A ball and a strike.
Got some stats for you after this pitch, Jeff. This last season at Citrus College, he appeared in 8 games with 6 starts. He had a 1-1 record, 4.87 ERA, went 20 1/3 innings pitched, allowed 28 hits, 13 runs, 11 of those earned, struck out 14 and walked 5.
1-2 the count on Harper, who popped out his first time up. Just outside 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, now that Dennis has finished his play-by-play duties for the day, we're ready to challenge him with some trivia down the stretch for the last 3 innings in Game 2's brand new category.
Well, before that, I think we got some interesting information on Mario Mendoza. We found out he actually hit above 200 for his career. Jeff, what was it, 2? You want to say that what he hit?
I believe it was 215. We're told by
Yes.
Corey, our producer, is on the job.
The thing is, Corey didn't even have to look it up. He just
knew.
I mean, that's
he's a big
impressive.
Mario Mendoza fan.
Corey, the knowledge is just phenomenal.
Meanwhile, Harper down on strikes for out number 1. And we did speculate that when Mendoza talked about hitting above the line, that he did say that he did successfully hit above the me line. We feel that that's only fair, that he should have been allowed to say that. He does not have to refer to himself in the third person. 1 down, and Noah Nieto will be the batter.
So I'm ready for the next round of trivia.
Yes, our new category is famous Major League Baseball moments.
Ooh.
And we'll have to identify some players involved in some of MLB's most famous moments.
I'll take that for 200, Jeff.
All right, so here we go. Game 7, 1997 World Series.
That would be the Marlins and the Indians.
Who had the walk-off hit, and who was on the mound for the Indians?
The walk-off hit was Craig Counsell, I believe.
You're so close.
And Jose Mesa was on the mound.
That was my guess, and that's not right. But Mesa was in that game. He just was not on the mound anymore.
So they took him out.
Yes.
Did Counsell score the winning run?
Counsell scored the winning run. So you're on the right track there.
Okay. So who was at bat and who was the pitcher?
I started with a pretty tough one. That's a fairly. But on the other hand, it is in your wheelhouse. So I did not retreat from your.
Was Charles Johnson perhaps at bat?
No, he was not at bat, though he was in the game. Soft liner, but Bodie Parker right there.
Why do
2 down.
I just remember Counsell, but you're right. He came.
Yeah, because he scored the run.
Right,
yeah. You're not remembering that for nothing.
But I thought it was Jose Mesa who he gave up the tying run and then he was pulled.
He was actually in the inning before. He didn't even start the last inning.
I thought he was their closer.
No, he went like 1 2/3 in the game, and he did blow the save. But that was in the 9th. This happened in extra innings. Hot smash down the first base line, but gloved nicely by McKinney, who will take it himself to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down for Harney in the 8th. We'll head to the bottom of the 8th inning with Team Navy on top of Team Green, 5-3. Best of the West baseball, Juco Prospects games here today on SoCalCollegeSports.com.
I just remember Omar Vizquel said when Mesa took the mound in the bottom of the 9th, he said he knew we were going to lose.
Yeah,
he did, and that's unbelievable.
And amazingly, Mesa didn't really hear that very well.
No.
Well, Schiraldi never liked the idea when anyone suggested that he was scared.
Right.
When he took them out in Game 6, it's
In the famous Bartman game in Chicago.
New pitcher David Hayes on for Team Green here in the bottom of the 8th, where he will work to Luke Stuka, Nolan Funky, and Jake Taylor.
Saddleback College, number 12, Luke Stuka.
And Stuka, the left-handed batter out of Saddleback College, will stand in against left-handed pitching David Hayes. Hayes ready. Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. No balls and a strike on Stuka. A base hit his last time up.
Jeff Hayes this past season at Cerritos College, he started 6 games, had a 3-2 record, 3.60 ERA, pitched 35 innings, 26 hits, 14 runs, all earned. Struck out 47. And he walked just 17.
Breaking ball well outside, and a ball and a strike the count on Stuka. And a wave and a miss. Good movement on the fastball there. A ball and 2 strikes. Now the count. And I think I've given you a pretty tough one on the 97 World Series. When I heard who hit it, that rung a bell. I did not remember who was pitching. When I saw the name, I was surprised, and of course it's true, as that one is fouled back to the screen, but I had really forgotten that was the case. But I think when you hear the hitter, you'll remember the play and remember that was the hitter.
You're right. I don't think I'm going to get the hitter or the pitcher, but Mike Hargrove was the manager of the Indians, correct? And was it Jimmy Leland?
Yeah.
Manager? Okay.
Yeah.
At some point you can go ahead and give me the answer because I'm not going to get it.
Yeah, the batter was Edgar Renteria.
Ah, sure, a shortstop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did vaguely recall that, having watched it as the breaking ball misses outside. And the pitcher, interestingly, was Charles Nagy.
Wow.
Which showed you how deep into the
because he was a
staff
starter.
they had gone. Because,
yeah.
yes, he was one of their main starters. So for him to come
Right.
in, they had really run out of relievers that they could count on. Swing and a miss, and Stuka down on strikes.
Strikeout for Hayes.
We're underway here in the bottom of the 8th.
Third baseman from Orange Coast College, number 10, Nolan Funky.
That'll bring up Orange Coast Nolan Funky.
Beg your pardon. What was it like for you when the Cubs won the World Series in 2016, being a lifelong Cubs fan? I mean, was it surreal for you?
It was kind of a weird feeling, and a couple of tears did kind of trickle down. I could not believe it had actually happened.
Sure.
And the way they won it was pretty special, but yes. I will never forget that the final play was that little tapper toward third, which was one of those plays that looked like it could be really tricky, and it was. And I kind of leaned forward anticipating that play was going to be a problem because, of course, the game was still so much in doubt, even with the Cubs leading in extra innings. And just the feeling when Bryant gloved it and you realized that he was going to make the throw and they were going to win. But I'll always remember that I kind of leaned forward and then I just couldn't believe. And I thought, how lucky is Joe Buck that he was the one who got to yell the Cubs win the World Series. How many announcers in the history of baseball announcing had imagined that one day they would get to say those words?
He did it for the Red Sox as well.
Yeah. But talk about words you maybe thought you were never going to hear. And what must that have felt like for him? He must have known the sort of import of that moment. Calling something that so many people would have thought was never, ever going to happen, including me.
When my fandom began, the first year I followed the Warriors, they won the title in 1975, and then the Raiders followed that up with a Super Bowl in 1976. I thought, boy, this is great. This is going to happen all the time.
Yeah.
And, needless to say, the Warriors went about 40 years without a title, and the Raiders won 3 Super Bowls in 7 years, and it's been a long drought ever since then.
Warriors went about 40 years with about, 2 playoff series wins or so, maybe?
I think they made
that
the playoffs.
Time frame.
Yeah, I think they literally made the playoffs about 10, 12 times, and semifinals was the farthest they'd ever gotten in the Western Conference, and then the magical year in 2015.
3 balls and 2 strikes, meanwhile, on Funky. And yeah, well, the Raiders, you had it really good there, 76, 80, 83.
Yep.
Swung on and missed. Off speed. Fools Funky.
Strikeout for Hayes.
2 down now.
And I was a little too young for the A's run 72 to 74, and then 88 to 90. I'm still stunned to this day they did not win 3 in a row. They were clearly better than the Dodgers and the Reds.
crazy that those two teams just got unbelievably hot at the right time. I mean, the Dodgers one is truly stupefying, but
Right.
they were a massive favorite in 1990 as well over that Reds team, and
They got swept by the Reds, and they won just one game against the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I think that was more dumbfounding
Yeah.
than anything. You can understand if maybe you lost this 7-game series, but that Dodger team was so battered and bruised. The fact that might have been one of the worst World Series teams ever, and the fact that they won it is just
as Lasorda said when Costas made that very same point of it being one of the weakest lineups,
yeah.
sort of ran there and says, even Costas thinks we stink. So Bob Costas could take a little bit of an assist for getting them up there, but
That's why they play them.
well, I mean, it was a tremendous pitching staff all year long. So for them to get hot and quell the A's bats, but the timely hitting was just unbelievable from some of the guys that really they had not certainly not put up any numbers that would have
No, right.
left you feeling
But the A's
as
also,
though the A's pitching staff couldn't handle it.
the A's also had a wonderful pitching
yeah.
staff that year. Dave Stewart, Bob Welch.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe Mike Moore was on that staff as well.
Yeah, Storm Davis in '88.
Storm Davis as well, yeah, from the
Yeah,
Orioles. Yeah.
and then they had a left-hander too. Maybe I think Kurt Young or something. And then the bullpen was really good. It wasn't just Eckersley, but Honeycutt
Right.
as well. And I think they had a couple of other.
They won over 100 games both those years they lost in the World Series.
Yeah, '89 was the weak year. I think they won just 99 games that year. 3 balls, 2 strikes. That was their down year on Jake Taylor.
You know, they actually came back in '92 and they made
Yeah.
the playoffs, except they lost to the eventual champion Toronto Blue Jays that year in the playoffs.
Sure.
Remember, was it '88 when Canseco hit won the upper deck? It was known as the Sky Dome back then, but
Yeah, I think it was '90, wasn't it, when he hit the
maybe it was
massive,
a 90. Yes,
yeah.
because '88 they beat the Red Sox. You're right. So '90. Remember the cameraman couldn't even find the ball. He ended up landing in the upper deck. Have you been to a game indoors? It's very different. I am not a fan.
No, I don't think I ever have.
It's a very strange atmosphere. I've been to this, well, whatever the Rogers Center, I think they call it.
Yeah.
And then I've been to Arizona.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I really haven't been to too many of the various parks around. So I've gone to games out here, and then of course I've gone to games in Chicago, and that's about it. I visited Fenway, but when we went to Boston, the Red Sox weren't there, so we just got the tour
sure.
of Fenway, which was actually pretty cool. So not bad.
I went inside the Green Monster and signed my name inside the wall.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to see that and take the tour. It's an interesting field. So
That wall is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah,
37
it is.
feet high.
it would be a fun place to watch
Yeah.
the game. In on the hands, slow roller toward third. Nieto will
Ooh.
go the long way, high throw, and it gets by Tellez at first and into the corner. Meanwhile, digging hard the whole way, Taylor will come all the way around to score.
Boy, that is great hustle from Taylor, scoring on an infield ball from first base.
Should go down as a throwing error, as they will send Landon all the way to third.
Shortstop. From Fullerton, number 9,
And
Brock
Navy
Denbo.
increases their lead now to 6-3 over Team Green, with Brock Denbo coming to the plate. Well, after the seemingly innocuous start with a couple of strikeouts, it was a walk to Taylor, and then Landon with the trouble ball toward third that ends up as a base hit and a throwing error. And Team Navy has extended on the lead. Good fastball on the outside corner for a strike.
Well, in defensive Hayes, he should have been out of this inning. That was a routine ball that Nieto just rushed the throw on.
Yeah, have seen some, while we've been impressed, I think, with the defense overall, some trouble throwing to first. We've seen a few balls get away. And that would be, you would think that would be one area where every park would feel the same, making the throw to first, but it does seem to be a bit of a trouble. And, of course, as we always wonder in these situations, and you can hear it in the numbers, which are so sporadic based on how much baseball was played, you got to think rust is a bit of a factor. So Landon at second, a ball and a strike the count on Denbo.
Still got one more game coming our way. 6:45.
Yep.
Game 2 of the Juco prospects.
Breaking ball swung on and missed. And Denbo now down a ball and 2 strikes, and he's struck out a couple of times in his 2 trips.
Between the high school game and this game, overall I've been impressed with what we've seen so far here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, is covering this level so much as we do at SoCalCollegeSports.com, you see more and more very talented players coming to this level, getting some experience playing here at the JUCOs, and then making the move to 4-year schools, or as Mike was talking about a little bit earlier in our discussion with him, making the move directly to the draft and going that route instead. So not a surprise to see some top-level talent here. A ball and 2 strikes to count. Breaking ball, check swing, and a roll towards short, but trouble now, and everybody's going to be safe. As Harper couldn't come up with it cleanly,
I think
and the inning continues.
Yeah, beg your pardon, Jim. I think Harper still had a play at first after he booted it. He recovered and looked to third, but if he would have just recovered, looked at first, made the throw, I think they're out of the inning. Now back-to-back errors.
Yep. So a runner at third and a runner at first now with 2 down. And if you're David Hayes, you're wondering just what it's going to take to get out of this inning. Couple of errors behind him. And here we go. And the first pitch in there for a strike to Bodie Parker, who's perfect, a single and a walk in 2 trips.
Yeah, 2 routine plays that should have been handled by the left side of that infield.
Meanwhile, Team Navy with another run, an insurance run just 90 feet away with 2 down. Good fastball and a swing and a miss. No balls, 2 strikes on Parker. Hayes ready. Breaking ball missing up and away.
Hayes is probably thinking, I better strike this guy out. That's the way I'm going to get out of this inning.
You can't really blame him if that's the thought that's going through his head. I think I need to come up with the strikeout here. But Parker may prove to be a tough out in that regard. Here's the 1-2. Inside a ball. Here's the 2-2 pitch, and again the fastball high and away. Good job by Parker, working it back to a full count. Hey, who can forget in 1989 when the A's were winning that, how close you came to being able to beat up on the Cubs in that World Series, but you got the Giants instead.
My memory serves me correct. Didn't the Giants sweep the Cubs? So it really wasn't that close?
We won a game.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah.
That was Will Clark. Didn't he hit a grand slam?
I think
off
they won a game.
Greg Maddux in game
I think
1?
I think it was 4-1. 4-1 that series. Ironically, that series that did not need to be 7 games, but the Cubs got 7 games to prolong our misery in that series. As meanwhile, the inning is over. Bodie Parker, I believe, ended up drawing the walk, but they'll roll over the inning nonetheless. So, mercifully for Hayes, the inning finally comes to a close, but Team Navy adds a run on no hits, 2 errors, 3 left on base, heading to the 9th. Team Navy on top of Team Green, 6-3. JUCO Prospects game, Best of the West baseball here on SoCalCollegeSports.com. Nick Lissette, the new pitcher for Team Navy, as we head to the 9th inning, and he will work to Trent Anderson to lead things off. And Anderson with a swing and a miss, and it's a ball and a strike. Trent Anderson 0 for 1, struck out his first time up, taking over in center field. Breaking ball misses outside.
Reminder to our audience, we're going full 10 innings.
Yeah, Team Navy will bat in the 10th, assuming that they maintain the lead. 3 balls and a strike.
Trent Buck Anderson. What's the best nickname of all time, you think?
For a baseball player?
Yeah. You know, the Negro League had great nicknames, didn't they? I mean, Cool Papa Bell.
It's true. I put that a little ahead of Big Poppy.
He's coming out.
Uh-oh. That is not a good sign.
So Lissette holding the right arm
Well, let's hope that young man's okay.
and not going to be able to continue.
Nope. Are they going to roll the inning over, or what are we going to do, perhaps?
So the leadoff walk to Anderson and Volgi due up next for Team Green, but we'll wait and see how they'd like to handle it. Obviously, Lissette will not be continuing, we would assume.
Well, an injury, I would imagine they would give him quite a few more warm-ups because the pitcher's leaving due to an injury. Carlton Fisk got a good one. Pudge. That was a good one. I like Pudge.
Number 0, Gavin Velasquez is warming up.
I have to look up Baseball Reference. I have to say I'm a little weak on my nicknames.
Okay.
On my baseball nicknames. Although, as I learned from Seinfeld, the thing to remember about Babe Ruth is he wasn't really a sultan. I just found that out.
Steve Carlton, lefty.
Have function on the LCD screen. FUNC. Yeah.
Kind of like Steve Carlton's press policy. Just not talking to you.
Pretty straight. Pretty simple. Lenny Dykstra was nails.
Nails, absolutely.
Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle.
Somehow I feel like Pete Rose would have a different nickname by now. Just with everything that's happened, it's hard to imagine.
We'll keep it Charlie Hustle for
Right?
playing purposes.
Well, who knows what the hustle would be in reference to now.
Right. Exactly.
We just assumed that was about how he played on the field.
Yes.
So I'm gonna look it over. Let me give you your A's question here.
Okay. The A's had a good one also. Fred Stanley was nicknamed Chicken. He was so scrawny playing shortstop.
Pretty good. All right, ready?
Yep.
You may know this right away, but this is gonna, for most people, this would not be so obvious.
Well, I hope it's obvious for me because this is a lot of pressure.
2001 American League Division Series Game 3. Derek Jeter makes an iconic play, cutting off a throw
Yes.
from the outfield and flipping it to catcher Jorge Posada. Who hit the ball for the A's, and what player was flipped out at the plate?
Okay, Jeremy Giambi was thrown out at the plate.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I almost think it was his brother at bat. But I'm not 100% positive on that. I know it was a left-handed hitter.
It was a left-handed hitter.
They did not have a lot. I'm going to go. Was it Jason Giambi?
It was not Jason Giambi.
Eric Chavez?
No.
Okay, now it's not. See, that's not so easy because all when you see that play.
Oh, don't get me wrong. This is incredibly, ridiculously hard for anyone in the world.
Right.
But a giant A's fan might have a chance at this one.
That's a play you try to erase from the memory bank.
That's
so
true.
It's because I think if he does a head-first slide going towards the third base side, I think he's safe. But he didn't slide for whatever reason, where's the batter on deck telling him to get down? The A's lose that game 1-0, and they lose the series because they didn't win that game. They won the first 2 games on the road at Yankee Stadium and lose 3 in a row. Was it Johnny Damon, perhaps?
It was not Johnny Damon. Not Coco Crisp.
I'm watching the play right now.
Personally, I think you just wanted to say Coco Crisp. wasn't even really the answer.
I don't know if Coco was on that team. I don't think he was.
I knew it.
That might have been their most talented team. I think they won well over 100 games, but the Mariners won 116 that year.
Yeah, 2000. Well, that was 2001, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Edgar Martinez was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't remember who.
Terrence Long.
Oh my God, T. Long, number 37.
That's tough.
Yeah,
But that was a question specifically for you.
thanks, Jeff.
I like to raise the bar a little bit when it's when I give you your A's questions.
Is that Gavin Velasquez warming up? Is that going to be the next pitcher for?
And Gavin Velasquez, and we got a little bit of the word on the story of Gavin Velasquez. An interesting story as we will see him pitching at some point, either now or a little bit later in the game. But Gavin Velasquez, who spent a couple of years at Cal State Fullerton, then went on to Cal Poly. But right now, with the season being canceled, went to play at Hope College and still hoping to make the transition into the draft and still go the route of professional baseball.
That is him.
So we'll get a little bit, arguably a little bit more than an inning from Gavin Velasquez as he will take over for Nick Lissette. As we'll keep it here, he'll come in with a runner at first. Nobody out, and Cole Andavulci will be the batter.
Yeah, let's hope Lissette's okay because he took himself out immediately and he was gripping his right arm.
Yeah, holding right around that forearm or
Yeah,
elbow area, and
so-
obviously we won't speculate
No.
on what it might be, but yeah, no question that he felt something that alerted him that he would not be able to continue. You got any favorite baseball moments historically that these are reminding you of?
Excuse me. One of my first memories of baseball was the '77 World Series. I remember Reggie Jackson hitting those 3 home runs off 3 different pitchers on 3 pitches. That was, to me,
Yes.
even as a young boy, I thought, boy, this is remarkable.
Yeah.
I think it was the '78 World Series then when Reggie stuck his hip out.
Oh, yeah.
I remember 1979 when the Orioles went up 3-1 over the Pirates, and the Pirates won 3 in a row to win that World Series.
Yep.
1980, I remember the Phillies
Yeah,
beat the
beating
Royals. Yeah.
The Royals had just a torrid second half and really ran away with their division and finally weren't beaten by the Yankees and you
right.
thought maybe they had a chance, and it was the Phillies that jumped up. Phillies, of course, who'd had a couple of near misses of their own at that time. You know, since I think we asked you about this, but since Brett hit 390, one player has hit higher than 390. Since that time, a lot of people think that that's the highest average since.
Didn't Tony Gwynn hit 394 in '94, right?
Yep, yeah.
Yeah.
And talk about real chance to hit 400.
Yes,
'cause
exactly.
It's the kind of hitter that maybe, and at that point,
And
he might have had a run at it.
And I think one of the first years I really started following baseball, I think Rod Carew flirted with 400. I think he hit 388 one year.
77.
With the Twins, though,
Yeah.
with the Minnesota Twins.
Yep.
That stood out.
Yeah.
I remember the 1985 World Series when the Twins won all their games. at
87.
home. 87,
Yeah.
right. And then they were
Beating
they won
Tigers.
85 games, and yet they had home field advantage.
Yeah.
And Jack Clark didn't play for the Cardinals. And I remember I just thought, how does a team with only 85 wins have home field advantage? I thought that was completely wrong with baseball. I mean, whoever had the best record should be having home field advantage. I just didn't understand that.
Yeah. They made the most of it, though.
They
Better
did.
playoff team, though, because they had 2 very strong starters
Jack
that.
Morris, right?
No, in '87 it was Frank Viola and Bert Blyleven.
Oh, you're right.
But so the pitching depth was a real problem for them. But in the playoffs, they could pitch Viola 3 times and Blyleven a couple times, so they didn't really have to go as deep into the rotation. So they were a little more dangerous team in the playoffs, obviously, but crazy that they beat a very good Tigers team and then the Cardinals.
And then that '84 Tigers team was one of the best teams.
Yeah.
I think I've seen. I think they started 35-5 or something ridiculous.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, and then
really cruised.
They did.
Toronto got within, I want to say, about 7 games or so in the second half at one point, but just so far to come back.
That's an incredible start, isn't it? 35-5.
Just amazing as Cole Andovolgi will stand in, and we are set to get underway again with a runner at first and Velasquez. Gavin Velasquez, the new pitcher for Team Navy. Here is the pitch in there for a strike. No balls and a strike, and I gave you a little bit of the story of Velasquez, but it's bounced around a little bit, but obviously a lot of talent and still hoping to make the move from Hope College and get back into the draft. And the fastball high for a ball.
Sometimes it takes guys just a little bit longer to find their way. And let's hope he finds his.
There is a look at Cole Andovolgi out of Golden West College. The 1-1 pitch from Velasquez. Breaking ball low and away, and no throw down to second. No chance to get Trent Anderson, who swipes second. And a runner at second now, in a count of 2 balls and a strike on Andovolgi.
Yeah, I don't think Velasquez was even paying attention to Anderson. He got a wonderful jump and stole second easily.
I think Ivan Rodriguez might have had a chance on that one. Throwing from his butt, as he probably would have had to on that, still could have gotten something on the throw and probably thrown him out.
I think Rodriguez, maybe Charles Johnson was a great defensive. Benito Santiago.
Yeah, Benito.
Yeah,
sure.
Those were wonderful.
Gavin Velasquez from where?
Johnny Bench, going back to the day, certainly.
Oh, yeah.
Cal Poly Pomona.
Bench I always remember just as I know he was a great defensive catcher, but I just remember him more for his offensive prowess.
I just remember the stories of him being able to hold 7 baseballs in his hand at one time. Breaking ball called strike 3, and Andovolgi is down on strikes.
Bench is he's the best catcher that I've ever seen. Just all-around catcher. And I would say probably, I know people say Mike Piazza. I'd probably put Carlton Fisk second. But in terms of all-around offense, defense, I think Bench is the best, followed by Carlton Fisk.
That's not a bad starting point. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong on that one. Fastball inside for a ball.
See if Damian Johnson can deliver the runner from second.
Where do you put a guy like Ivan Rodriguez? Certainly has to be in the conversation as well.
Excuse me. I would definitely put him up there as well.
A ball and no strikes. Meanwhile, the count on Damian Johnson. Well, it wasn't as spirited as our top 5 point guards discussion that we had between games up here in the booth. That was a vibrant discussion. But we can talk about greatest centers. Ball and a strike. The count now on Damian Johnson. I think Piazza with the bat
right
was certainly up there, but I think the consensus on Piazza, as spectacular as the hitting was that he was not very good at all behind the plate,
no.
and someone that you really had to kind of work around or really even try and get from behind the plate if you could and get him to some other place in your lineup. Ball and 2 strikes, the count now.
I would put Gary Carter in there. I think he was wonderful,
yeah,
both offensively and behind the plate as well.
The kid. A ball and 2 strikes. In on the hands, could be trouble. Just foul.
Oh, it is fair.
No, it's a fair ball.
Yeah.
Boy, that looked like it just landed foul, but it's going to go as a perfectly placed double. And Team Green creeps back within 2 at 6-4.
He fought off that pitch, almost an inside-out swing. As you mentioned, Jeff, I think it landed just inside the line.
I think in the words of John McEnroe, chalk flew up. That ball was on the line. So 6-4 now after Johnson brings home Trent Anderson with the double. And that'll bring up Nick Siemens, who had an RBI single his last time up. As you get a look at the replay here. And you're going to see, well, I was thrown off a little bit by the tarp there, as it turns out. And that looked like it landed on the tarp, but evidently a little bit of that tarp is in fair territory.
Yeah, if you're just joining us, they have the tarp on several different places on the grass, trying to preserve it here in December. It's around home plate, right around first base and third base, and mostly foul territory, but there is a little bit in fair territory as well, and then behind shortstop and second base as well.
1 ball and 1 strike the count on Nick Siemens.
And then right in front of home, the pitcher's mound as well.
Does Team Green have one more comeback left in them? Trailed at 2-0, came back to tie it at 2. Trailed 3-2, came back to tie it at 3. Now down 6-3, and they've got 1 back here as they bat in the 9th. 2 balls and a strike the count. Now on Siemens. Meanwhile, Gavin Velasquez, maybe the only pitcher here today to go more than an inning, as he had to come on early for the injured Nick Lissette. Fastball swung on and missed, and the throw over the head of Funky and into left field, and that will bring home another run as Damian Johnson will trot home and make it 6-5.
So are we going to give a stolen base and an E2 to allow the run to score?
I would think we pretty much have to.
Okay. We all seem to be on board with that, and that's just a 1-run game now.
And the count, 2 balls and 2 strikes, as the pitch was called strike 2 on Siemens. Velasquez ready. Here's the 2-2. Down on strikes. Velasquez rears back with the fastball. Siemens is retired, 2 down.
Number 52, Julian Tellez.
And that'll bring up Julian Tellez. Tellez struck out his last time up. Swings at the first pitch high, chopper to first, and McKinney will underhand to Velasquez, covering to retire the side, but not before. Team Green creeps a little closer. 2 runs on 1 hit, 1 error. Nobody left on base heading to the bottom of the 9th. Team Navy on top of Team Green, 6-5. Best of the West baseball brought to you by Future Events Group. Bottom of the ninth inning, Team Navy coming to the plate with a 6-5 lead. Logan Galena will lead things off against new pitcher, left-hander Nick Merkin. Merkin's first pitch on the outside corner for called strike one. Galena, a walk and a single in 2 trips since coming on and taking over behind the plate. Breaking ball misses low.
Jeff Merkin appeared in 7 games this past season for Golden West College. Did not have a 1-loss record. Had an 8.31 ERA. 13 innings. Gave up 13 runs, 12 of those earned.
Fastball pops the glove for a strike. A ball and 2 strikes the count. And there is Nick Merkin out of Golden West College. Here's the 1-2. Tried the fastball upstairs, but Galena lays off. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 6 runs, 7 hits, 2 errors for Team Navy. 5 runs, 6 hits, 3 errors for Team Green. As Merkin rolls that one in, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Now the lights are on here at San Manuel Stadium. We'll see how well the ball carries. 5:26 here out in the west. Started today at 74 degrees. It's now in the low 60s.
Well, we started the day at about 40 degrees.
That's
I think
true.
when
We did. You're
this
right.
morning, and I got a feeling we're going to finish around there before it's all said
right.
and done. Meanwhile, that one low and away for a ball, and Galena works another walk.
First baseman from Citrus College, number 27.
We're out in the desert. We're about 60 miles east of downtown LA, and it's one of those, if you're not familiar with the weather here, very nice during the day, but it cools off quickly once that sun goes down this time of year.
So Galena at first.
That could be
McKinney
2.
will be the batter. Over to second for 1 and on to first for the double play. So quick work of McKinney, who goes after the first pitch and erases the base runner, and 2 down, bases empty. And Luke Stuka coming to the plate. He's 1 for 2.
Stuka's got a little pop in that back. He homered twice at Saddleback College.
Slow curve on the corner for a strike. Now our last game, help me out here, Dennis, scheduled for 6:15?
It's 6:45.
6:45, okay. And when this wraps up, and we are going 10 innings here, but when this wraps up, we will sign off here and then rejoin you at 6:45, and we'll have Game 3. The prospect games here, Best of the West baseball from San Bernardino. A ball and a strike the count. And a swing and a miss.
Jeff, were you a fan of home run hitters, or did you like the speed guys?
I know this will stun you because I grew up as a Cubs fan, and they played in that small park and obviously had more home run hitters. But I actually kind of, longer I went, I kind of grew to like the teams that played in the bigger parks and ran more, and the defense and the pitching. I suppose it matters when you ask me. What about you?
You know, being an A's fan, I loved Ricky Henderson. I just thought
Sure.
he was. We can pick it up in the next inning. I'll continue my thoughts.
We'll continue to talk next inning about, how great Ricky Henderson is. We're heading to the 10th. 6-5, Team Navy on top of Team Green. Best of the West baseball brought to you by Future Events Group. And Jacob Olvera taking the mound, and if that looks a little strange with Team Green coming to bat, don't be alarmed. Just a little more winter baseball for you with some pitchers being moved around. It's Jacob Olvera who will pitch the 10th inning to his own team. So Olvera in the green jersey will nonetheless pitch this inning for Team Navy as Team Green comes to the plate. It'll be the top of the order, Harper, Nieto, and Hansen due up.
And the reason why we had Nick Lysette had to leave the game because of an apparent arm injury.
Yep. This was where Velasquez was supposed to pitch.
Correct.
And so now it'll be that. So are we going to have the bottom of the 10th? Okay. Well, we're not 100% sure if we're going to have the bottom of the 10th. We might be out of pitchers, so we may be wrapping it up here. We'll just wait and see when this inning is over. The first pitch to Harper, inside for a ball. I think Dennis is going to go and see if we can find out for sure and pass that along to you. And again, one more game coming, set to start at 6:45 tonight. Another Juco prospect game, and we hope that you will join us for some or all of that. And the fastball misses low, and it's 3 balls and no strikes. Quickly on Harper, who's 0 for 2, popped out and struck out. Olvera ready. And just missed. Well, I didn't see a strike signal, but there was no call there, but Harper's still there, so I believe it was the verbal only strike call, 3 balls and a strike. Or maybe they just want him to keep going. But there he takes ball 4, and this time it's official. It's a walk for Aaron Harper.
Third baseman from East LA College, number 40, Noah Nieto.
So the potential tying run aboard here. Either way, even if there is a bottom of the 10th inning, we're not going to go past 10 even if the game is still tied.
And I'm waiting on word if we're
So
going
we're
to
going
play
to get the final word here, definitive word. Off-speed pitch from Olvera, and a swing and a miss for Nieto, who's 0 for 2, grounded out and lined out.
Getting back to our conversation the previous inning, I always thought it was when you can get a guy on and the opposing team, even though they know he's going to try to steal a base and they still can't get him out, I just always thought you kind of took a little bit of their heart, a little bit of their soul away from him. So
yeah, there's a relentless pressure to
Yep.
it of the teams that played that aggressive, fast-paced ball. Meanwhile, on 3 pitches, Nieto down on strike, so a nice recovery by Olvera to get the strikeout for out number 1 here in the 10th.
now with today's ballparks, I don't know if you can play that same style. Maybe in San Diego you could. Perhaps with the Mets, Citi Field plays a little bit larger.
Well, they got rid of the speed game when they got rid of AstroTurf. Now,
Yeah.
that's not the worst thing in the world, but it did function a little bit better in those bigger parks with the AstroTurf as well.
Well, where the Diamondbacks play, they now play on turf as well as the new Rangers ballpark where they had the World Series. That is also field turf.
Is that the artificial? But it's still
It's not AstroTurf.
it's grass, but it's artificial grass, but
Yes.
it's faster than
Correct.
regular grass.
And then, of
I
course, the
get you.
Rogers Center in Toronto, they still have the turf. I thought they had wanted to put grass in there at one point up in Canada, but it is still a turf field.
A ball and a strike. I'll tell you, you really know your field textures.
You know, for baseball, I am just old school. I think you should play on grass no matter what. I do.
A ball and 2 strikes.
I honestly think in football you should as well. To me, if the Green Bay Packers can play on grass, if you can grow it in the frozen tundra, everybody should be on it playing on grass.
I don't know how teams played at Veterans Stadium for as long as they did. I don't know how they got players to play.
Tell you what, if I need
On
any
concrete.
If I need any sod recommendations, I'm going to Dennis.
Lifted into right center. Stuka is under it and has it to retire Hansen. 2 down now. And a runner at first, and Trent Anderson coming to the plate.
From Cerritos College, number 27, Trent Anderson.
Anderson has struck out and walked. And Team Green down to their final out. Still waiting on word on whether or not we're doing the bottom of the 10th. We'll hang here when this inning is over and just get the definitive word before we sign off. And
Okay,
we'll see
now
what.
We just got the word.
We have the word. This is going to be the final at bat.
All right, so this will wrap it up here, and then we will step aside at the conclusion of this half inning and rejoin you at 6:45 for Game 3. No balls and a strike, and that one low and inside. Count evened up. Yeah, Ricky Henderson. I mean, it's maybe I don't know how you keep him out of one of the just most dominating players in the game. Just a guy who could single-handedly take over a game. Of course, it helps when you can steal 100 bases
Yeah.
and hit 30 home runs.
Right.
That one into left field for a base hit, so Team Green still here. We got runners at first and second, and Cole Andivolgi will be the batter. I'll see if Andivolgi could maybe gap one here and finish it on a exciting note for Team Green.
We had a walk off in the summer, right?
We did.
I think we did, yeah.
Was that over the Foresters? No, Bucks.
Yeah, I think it was that. It was that when the team came from Santa Barbara. First pitch low and inside for a ball.
I think that's right.
Anderson Peace. They were a good team, Anderson Peace suit from the Summer League.
Yeah, they had some power.
They did. They were a good team.
I think the longest home run was in that game. That was that day game where I think I don't remember who was at the plate, but it was a left-handed hitter, and he must have hit one
Halfway up the
good
fencing.
400 plus.
Yeah,
I mean,
he
he
was halfway up the fencing.
launched it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
He didn't only hit it to the San Manuel Stadium sign. He hit it to San Manuel Casino.
2 balls, no strikes. That one misses. A little bit low. 3 balls and no strikes. A walk here would put 2 runs potentially in scoring position. This Damian Johnson waiting on deck. Here's the 3-0. A little bit low. That'll load him up. How's this for a little final at-bat drama? As Andivolgi gets the walk. And it's Trent Anderson at second who would carry the potential winning run for Team Green.
He's got pretty good speed out there.
Yeah, you got to believe a base hit to the outfield's got a chance. First pitch to Johnson is high and outside. 1 ball and no strikes. Well, even though he's wearing the same jersey, you don't want to take the loss here if you're Olvera,
No.
even to your own team. That one fouled away, a ball and a strike. Now the count on Damian Johnson. They're creeping in a little bit. Brian Landon playing a very shallow center field. Stuke over in right and Taylor in left. Starting to cheat in a couple of steps. 1-1 pitch. Outside a ball.
And Jeff, I think with nobody on deck, this is going to be the final hitter of the game, irregardless of what happens.
Does that mean that Trent Anderson is getting the green light no matter what, no matter where this ball is hit? Got to have a resolution. Fastball outside. You can't hold him up. 3 balls and a strike. Indeed, here it's a good point. If you walk him here, how's that for a finish to the game? It ends.
Finish in a tie.
I don't think they'll let him. I think they'll make him stay up there. Are they going to finish it on a walk? I thought maybe they'd bring him back and be like,
that
no,
is it.
you can't do it. But instead, it's going to be a walk to Damian Johnson. And for those who are so inclined, the game will end in a technical 6-all tie. Right? And it's indeed, in every sense of the word, a literal walk-off. So the final score here, Team Green and Team Navy tied at 6. We'll step aside here, rejoin you at 6:45 for our third and final game of the day. You're watching Best of the West Baseball Juco Prospects here on SoCalCollegeSports.com, brought to you by Future Events Group. See you at 6:45, everybody. So long.